If you've been playing Browndas, you already know how annoying Granhilder can be. So Granhilder, if you guys don't already know, is a legendary unit who is very tanky. Now there are actually very consistent ways to deal with her. First being Angelica and the second being Livia. Now Livia will kill Granhilder no matter what, and Angelica will kill Health Granhilder. Unfortunately, she will not penetrate Defense Granhilder, but if you are not Grandmaster, you shouldn't worry about that because Defense Granhilder is often used just to counter Angelica. So I do not have either Livia or a skilled up Angelica, and for this reason I had to be creative in how I counter Granhilder. If you do not have a way to deal with Granhilder, you will definitely not be able to climb in the arena. Granhilder reflects debuffs. This means that something like a damage over time cannot be used to kill her. Something like stats weakening cannot be used against her. Now, the way I actually counter Granhilder is through Barbara. Now, if you notice in this arena team, I'm not actually using any stats weakening immunity supports on Barbara. But you can also notice that her crit rate is 95%. Now why is this? Remember, Granhilder will reflect debuffs, and Barbara has a debuff which reduces her stats by 65%. So my crit rate is supposed to be 35% and not 95%. So this is actually the way I counter Granhilder. So before we get into that, I want to explain first that stats do actually go over 100%. So the best way to explain this is using Arcan. Now why use Arcan? Arcan has a skill which reduces his defense by 1.5 every turn. So I'm going to show you an example here. You can see in these two scenarios where I put different runes that the Arcans do get their defense reduction at a different stage of the game. This is because the Arcan with 120% defense starts the armor reduction from the 120 and not from the 101% defense. So my point is simply stats can go over 100%. So as you can see here, Barbara has 115.85% crit rate without any buffs. Now the Kuwik buff, I do not count it in because Barbara removes stat enhancement. So Kuwik is just there. This is just a bonus. Kuwik is just there to reflect kill whoever hits him. So we're only counting Raphithia's buff. Now, Raphithia deals support times 25% crit rate. Now, if you multiply 25% with the support stat, which is 179.83, you get 45, around 45 percent crit rate. So Raphithia will give your allies 45% crit rate. 115 plus 45 equals 160. So our Barbara will have 160% crit rate. With 160% crit rate, if she has this skill reflected into her, the negative 65% stat will only apply to the 100 because the 100 is the only thing that is considered in the battlefield. So 100 minus 65% is equal to 35. Now 35 Remember that at the start we have 160, so we still have 60 left. 60% crit rate left. Now if we add the 35% crit rate to the remaining 60% crit rate, which was not considered in the battlefield before, we still have 95% crit rate. So this is very useful because now we do not even need a stats weakening support such as Ceres or Stella. You might say, why not just use a stats weakening support and let your Barbara live? Keep in mind that Barbara also reflects the removal of the all stats, meaning that this skill will get reduced and she essentially dies whenever she kills a Grand Hilder. With the stats weakening support, I'm not sure that's gonna happen because this because this is a stats weakening. So why not just use a stats weakening support? My answer is very simple. Out of this formation, no one can be replaced, and I cannot replace anyone and achieve the same win rate or defense rate that I'm achieving now. I've already tried adding in Ceres for this formation, and to sum it up, she just doesn't justify a slot. Everyone here is already quintessential. I need Raphithia, I need Narthas to kill everyone, and if Narthas does fail to kill or is stuck on a Lucius, the AoE from Velfern is very useful. Velfern is probably the most flexible unit. I can replace him more easily, but his value is more than that of any stats weakening support I can add to the team. Now, Dalvi is there for my initial initiation to kill Cecilia or to break the death guard of Lucius. That is the reason why I cannot let Barbara go first, because Barbara cannot kill the death guard of Lucius. Now I have Barbara in a relatively late turn order. She attacks third. That's to catch Grand Hilders that's just from my experimenting. You have to experiment to know which turn order to give your Barbara. Alright. Grand Hilder helps in reducing the AoE damage from Lucius, who only has one ruin, lol, to reduce the AoE from Lucius, and in turn the enemy mages will get stuck on Lucius for a longer period of time. Kuwik removes or kills Angelicus and Narthas, so that's a very important task that either Kuwik or Chuckle can do. I just opted for Kuwik because the attack interference does help when my Raphithia dies, and Raphithia is in a very vulnerable spot. So that's why I built my Kuwik to replace the Chuckle I had before. So far no regrets, very useful. And Mamonir is a very good AoE candidate. Mamonir can easily survive anything that can hit her from this spot with AoE. She will easily survive Anastasia, Dalvi, Livia, Asmode, anything that can hit her. Actually, Mamonir has more health than Grand Hilder in the battlefield. Mamonir will have 4,500 health with if you count the energy guard. That's a lot more health than Grand Hilder. So there are games when Grand Hilder dies, Lucius dies, Kuwik dies, and the team looks something like this. Usually Raphithia also dies. Now, an enemy will often have a Dalvi, and that Dalvi will be stuck on my Mamonir. So that's why Mamonir is pretty valuable in this team. Now that I've explained to everyone, you now know that I can't afford space for stats weakening support. This is why I believe that using the overcritting is still more efficient, at least for my needs. So I hope that you guys learned something.
Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and me, jumping off the edge. These the dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Somewhere by the emerald sea, where the moon and water meet. Somewhere close to harmony, when the world is sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space.